everybody. Welcome to Brewhouse Art Studio. Hi, I'm Brian Brewer, and I'm doing a pre-recorded show for you today because I'm trying out a few things in my layout. I don't know how well they're going to work. So, I know you guys came to my very first stream to watch my tutorial on Motion Builder. It's awesome. I love it. But I do a lot of other things. I like to illustrate. Right up there, yeah. I like to sculpt. I like to do Lego projects. I go to my YouTube and you can see me. I got a time lapse of me building this ship in a bottle. You know what? Why show you a picture when I can actually turn the camera and show you the ship in the bottle right there? Yeah, that's right. It's kind of a cool video. All the guys at work seem to think it was cool, so can't be half bad, right? So I am in the middle of sculpting right now. I've kind of stepped away from this project for a little while because trying to get this stream thing going, trying to get this Twitch account set up, and just try to do something different and new and fun with my life and things I like to do. That being said, if you could go click the follow button, that would be awesome, because the more people I get to follow, chances are I can get my what do they call it, a Twitch affiliate unlocked, and then when that happens, people can subscribe, and I can do things like down below the Amazon wish list, which is right down there on the screen. I can start filling it up with all the cool stuff that I like the tools I use for sculpting, or the clay I use, the Super Sculpey and everything. It gives you a chance to click on that link, go directly to the things that I like to use, and if you want to buy them, and it helps me out, helps me buy new cameras, because honestly this camera that's right up here is like 12 years old. But it's like, that's what the heck. This camera though, that's the new camera. But yeah, I'd like to get a better mic, so I'm not using a headset. My head mic, this is a great headset. I love it. Great for gaming. Great for I'm on video calls all day at work, and I have this type of headset at work. Have one of these at home. I love them. HyperX. But yeah. So anywho, on to sculpting. And I don't know, what can I say? What I'm working on here is an anatomy study. I haven't been sculpting for very long. It's something I decided one day I'm like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna sculpt. I think I want to do that. So you'll probably see them flash up here every so often. I've my first couple little sculptures that I've done start to finish. It's a little head of this girl. Kind of painted it in this nice copper paint, and then then I patinaed it with a nice patina. I use these metal effects paints that I've got over here. Here we go, metal effects. I use this to paint it, then I spray it with a solution that activates the metal flakes in the paint and causes a nice patina. I also did a nice sculpture of a kind of a Celtic old man. Celtic, maybe he used to be a warrior, but now he's just whatever. You'll probably see it show up here every so often. But yeah, so I did these sculptures, those two sculptures, and I thought to myself, you know what, I should probably really start setting some foundations. I have some ideas of things that I want to sculpt, but I'm not super good. There's some guys on this Twitch and YouTube are just absolutely phenomenal sculptors. They do it all day, every day, and I love to go and watch their shows and see what they do and what they're up to, and it gives me a lot of inspiration to maybe do my little my little sculpt switch. I need a light over here so I can get this thing close to a camera and focus, focus, focus. Skeletor. I'll get you, He-Man. So anyway, why am I doing an anatomy study? Well, anatomy is really important. You know, I don't think I can teach somebody sculpting, but I think I can teach you guys a little bit about the foundation and fundamentals of artwork, and so to speak. I guess it's not the fundamentals and foundation. I'm teaching you that fundamentals and foundation are important. I guess that's the way I should put it. You have to know the foundation before you can start doing really great artwork. And what does that mean? That means if you're going to do a character, I'm going to do a character. So I've got my little anatomy study right here. Let me see if I can. Oh, hey, look, sculpture. Look, see, there's one of my first little busts. So I started doing this anatomy study. I want to build this character. It's from the inside out, just like a house building. You pour the concrete and then you build the wood beams and put on the facade, and put in the sheetrock and everything else. I'm going to do the same thing here. One half of this sculpture is going to be skeleton, and the other half is going to be muscle, kind of like that picture right there, that you see. And it's going to help me learn. It's going to help me figure out shapes. And it's kind of how things fit together in these sculpted people. And I did it when I used to illustrate. I don't illustrate that much anymore. It's just, I don't know, just time. Really, I'm so busy with everything else. But yeah, you start, you learn this. You learn what are the proportions of the body. What do they look like? How do they fit together? How do they work together? How do the muscles lay over top of it? What about the tendons and ligaments? How do they hold everything together? Because all that is all that works together to get you your final result. And as you can see from some of my really old stuff like that picture right up there, you can come a long way when you do a lot of work. And if I see another one pop up there, I'll kind of point out some of my you can see a quality difference, like old stuff, really old, and some of the newer stuff. But so yeah, so with this, what I'm trying to do is I'm on the skeleton's left side. I'm gonna try to sculpt these bones the best I can, as accurately as I can, and then the other side muscles. So where do you start? You start with reference. Everybody starts with reference, and I have some reference right over here. You can see it in my book. This is a really, really good book, and I'm going to link this book as soon as I get a lot of followers, so I can become an affiliate and show you a lot of these things that I use. But this book is an incredible resource for artists, and some of you probably already, just by looking at this page, already know what it is. But shh, don't tell anybody else. So a lot of you, like I said, so I have this reference. I have the skeleton here. Let's see if I can have this little book stand that I bought because it really makes things much, much easier. But yeah, let's see if I can get this down here. So I have these this diagram. It's a orthographic view of a skeleton front and back. It has a few little ligaments and tendons here in the knees and stuff, but I'm using this to kind of build the foundation. I've got a little pose like right up here in the corner of this guy standing, very similar to how this sculpture is standing right here. So yeah. And I measured all the joints to this to try to make it as one-to-one scale-wise as this picture is, but in this pose. And how important is reference? Reference is extremely important. I work in an industry with a lot of very, very talented artists, and I have for many, many, many years. 16, actually more than 16. I've been in the game industry and right before the game industry, television and movies for 16 years. Game industry, like, shoot. 13, 14 years, something like that. I can't remember. Worked on television shows, commercials, video games. And before that, I worked at I put myself through college sculpting, and I might as well start sculpting as I talk. Bought this cool little, this big magnifying glass so I was having some trouble sculpting these little fine details on this itty bitty skull, because again I'm making it as one-to-one to this image in this book as I can. But yes, I've worked a long time in the industry at a company called Fawzon Arts, where, believe it or not, I drew caricatures at a theme park, and I drew people all day long for 12 hours a day, well, 10 hours a day, 12 hours on Fridays and Saturdays. And so I've been around a lot of very, very talented artists, guys who are far more talented than I am, in my opinion. And every single one of them uses reference. And I'm no exception. So I gather my resources. And it doesn't matter if I'm animating or doing motion capture, which I do a lot of motion capture. I always gather my resources. And in this case, I got my book. I have what you see here on the screen, which is right there on the screen, that little skull. This is a tremendous resource, and I will share this resource with you guys as soon as as soon as you subscribe, or not subscribe, follow. As soon as you follow, and I can start having people subscribe and whatnot. And, I'll tell you this. This is a great resource for studying anatomy. This, believe it or not, is free to download, and anybody can download this. But yeah, it's a human skull. It's 3D. You can move the light around. You can look at it from all the different angles. I believe this might be a Unity engine, so if I try to rotate to the right, it kind of like stops because my cursor goes off the screen, but I can actually rotate around the other way, and then I can look all around a little bit easier there. A little bug in their software, but it's still really good reference, and you can play with the lighting and what have you, and just make it look really good. This is good for illustrating. This reference is not just not just for sculpting, but illustrating and anything you want to do, really. You can change the lights. There's all sorts of things you can do with this tool. For me, I'm looking at the skull. You can toggle the jaw, cranium, depending on what you're working on. You can toggle back and forth between male and female skull. So get an idea of. I really hope they put out more of these, because this is super useful. I wish they had the entire skeleton. These are all scanned in. So anyway, reference is super important. I don't know a single artist in the industry who does not use reference. Doesn't matter if it's vehicles that they're making or weapons. Doesn't matter if it's a character or a creature, even alien monster creatures, they all use reference. And here's a interesting tip. This was told to me by a guy I know. He's really, really good artist. Name's, or if I should name drop here, his name's Brett Briley. And met him a long time ago. He's a great guy, good, talented guy. In fact, he's on the Pixelogic Twitch stream a lot, doing these ZBrush sculpts. And he was telling me something that he learned whenever you're doing a creature, and that if you want to make a creature that will make somebody feel very creepy, and uncomfortable, sculpt. You're gonna laugh at this one. Sculpt genitalia into it, and I don't mean, down there. I'm talking about in the face, or on part of the body, and you don't want it to look like it right off the bat, but you kind of want it to be there, right? Because the back of your mind will read it, even though it may not be blatant, and it'll just, makes people feel uncomfortable to see that. And in fact, if you ever watch Aliens and you look at the face huggers, look at the underside, the part that comes out of the face hugger and is supposed to go down into the person's esophagus to lay the little chest burster. Look at that. That's definitely it's definitely a vajayjay. H.R. Giger. It's H.R. Giger for you. A lot of his work is very much that. The guy is really good at that industrial, creepy type of stuff. So because I am sculpting this anatomy study, one half is going to be skeleton and one half is going to be muscles. I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on the left side of this face. I'm going to spend most of my time, well, I guess it's my left, it's the skeleton's right side. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the right side of his face. I'm going to spend all my time detailing out that bone structure on the skeleton's left side and try to make that good, because the other side is just going to get covered up. So what I'm going to do for the other side is I'm going to try to block it out, the shapes and the volume. And I'm not super, like I said, I'm not super worried about detail. Hope you guys are enjoying this cheesy music that I've got going. Downloaded it from that free YouTube. Man, this is really small. I wonder if I can get closer to this camera so you guys can see sort of what I'm doing a little bit better, maybe. I have no idea. Let's find out. It's just kind of a challenge. It's like I want to use this magnifying glass to see better, but at the same time, I want to show you it'll show you what I'm doing. And let's see if we can get this to focus. There we go. There we go. Let's see if I can do this. This will be a challenge, my own personal challenge. So, give you talk about what's coming up on my channel. We got a buddy of mine, I'm not mentioning any names right now, but he used to be part of a pretty cool band back in the day, and he's got some other cool bands that he's a part of now. Don't want to mention any names, but I've been working with him and talking with him, and maybe strike a deal where he's going to let me use some of his music here. I'll have license to use it, and it'll be really nice. I'm going to be very appreciative. I'm going to help him and his band build a website for themselves. I'm not a professional website builder, but I know enough to put something out there. Go check out my website, brewhouseartstudio.com. Blurry. Come on, focus. Probably need to turn off the autofocus setting on that camera, huh? I'll try to pay attention to what's going on here, and try not to get it too blurry. I'm working on this little fine detail now, the teeth, and again, I'm new to sculpting, so there's probably like some really cool techniques that make this pretty easy. I don't know what those are. I'm just doing what I think works. What works best. Makes me happy. The sculpting makes me happy. It's very relaxing. I think it's important for people to do stuff that makes them feel fulfilled. I used to play a lot of video games. I know it's probably blasphemy to say on a Twitch live stream, but I don't know. I feel like if I spend all my time in front of a game, I'm just kind of wasting my time away, which is odd to say because I make video games for a living. Love video games. I do like to play them when I do play them, but I've discovered I really want to make something with my hands. For so long I've been doing this digital, creation on the computer, animations, things that you can't hold an animation. I mean, yeah, okay, you can hold the DVD or the game disc or the VHS tape if you're old enough, but you can't really hold an animation. You can hold a sculpture. Even somebody who does sculpting in the computer in ZBrush, you can print that stuff up and hold it. We did some prints on our game that I'm working on, and it's really neat to see that stuff. We got some of our ships printed up, sculpted for some of our big conventions that if you guys went and checked out, you would have seen it. Those things are pretty amazing. So again, it's one of those things where like somebody built that. This modeler built that, and now they can like look at it, walk around it, touch it, pick it up, and hold it. It's just not something you can really do with animation. In fact, the most an animator gets is to pose the character on the front cover of a magazine, because we haven't quite gotten to the sci-fi realms where magazine covers are, animated. Alright, we also don't live in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Unfortunately, we're just a bunch of muggles. So none of our pictures come to life, or animations, unless you're watching it. So I think one of the things I'm doing with this guy, is I'm gonna put a eyeball in his right socket. I'm gonna leave his left eye socket nothing in there. So I'm trying to sculpt out the pits in his eyes. If I kind of rotate this around a little bit, get that light in the right spot, you can kind of see how the bone structure inside that skull looks. Kind of goes back into that ocular canal. It's kind of interesting. Everybody's skull is different. Everybody has these different shapes. I mean, they're all kind of the same, right? You'll recognize a skull when you see it, but they all have these kind of different shapes. Some people's skulls, it seems like there's more of a cavity here, like it's got like their sinuses are opened up into here. Other people don't seem to have that. This person doesn't. Or maybe the modeler who scanned this and touched this up closed it up. I have no idea. I don't usually look into the eye sockets of skulls. But I am today. I'm looking at it today. I want to learn this anatomy. I want to learn how to block it out and make it look cool. Something you have to be careful of when you're sculpting is destroying stuff that you've sculpted. And easy to drop something on the ground and smush it. In fact, I'm going to show you my very first attempt at this skull. So you ready? You ready to laugh? You ready to laugh? Here we go. I'm going to show you the very first attempt. You're like, what is that? Actually, kind of looks like that really horrible human alien from that one really bad alien movie that, or Sigourney Weaver. Did she like give birth to the alien? I can't remember. It was crazy. Yeah. No, what happened is it actually kind of looked like this skull. And then I'm like, all right, now I need to put it on my skeleton. And as I'm like trying to fit it on there, I'm like smushing it. And I'm just like, oh no, it's destroyed. And I thought, I guess I could try to fix it. And I was like trying to fix it, and I was trying to do things to make it work. It just wasn't working. Yeah, but sometimes you have to go, you know what? It's time to just put this to the side. Time to put that off over here and say, you know what? That was a good try. I'm gonna give it another go. So I did give it another go. I like it. I got a better idea of what I'm gonna do. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm going to see. I've got this armature wire right there. And right now it's bent so I can hold it, but I think I'm going to straighten it down. I'm going to take this clay off of the neck here, and I'm going to stick this wire, this straight wire, kind of down into this chest cavity. You'll probably take another piece of little armature wire and wrap around it, kind of hold it into place so that hold it into place so that you could be like, to be or not to be, you know. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And hopefully I won't destroy the skull this time. You know, I learned what not to do. Here you go. This is what not to do. This is what you do. You start over. I have a friend who's a modeler. He's really good. His name's Trevor. And worked with him at Terminal Reality. And he eventually went off. I think he started working at Sony or someplace. I can't remember. He told me, you know, so I knew guys who's like, I modeled a hand. And then they save that hand in like a hand library. So they model a few hands, different shapes and sizes. And then they save it into a library, and then anytime they need that hand, they pull it up. But not Trevor. He would model a hand from scratch every single time. And he said, I do it because it makes me better. And that guy was a tremendous artist. And I can't tell you all the magazine covers that his artwork has been on, but it has been on quite a few. A lot. He did a lot of marketing. So, talented guy. So, I kind of wish you guys were with me from the start on this thing. I had already gotten pretty far on this little sculpt before I decided to start this endeavor of changing my website and changing my whole identity online from what I used to be. I used to be Liquid Mesh 3D. I had a website, liquidmesh3d.com. And then I decided to go and be Brewhouse Art Studio because I felt the old name was kind of old. Wanted something fresh, something new, something that didn't feel like 1990. Wait, when did I start my website? 96? 1996. I think when I went to go close it down, I've owned that domain since 1996. Liquid Mesh 3D. So I thought a lot about the name I wanted to have back then. I wanted to be a 3D animator, and I wanted a name that kind of said all that. I don't know how many people got it. It seems like most people didn't get it. So Liquid Mesh 3D. So I wanted it to just be Liquid Mesh, but it was taken. There was a company that did some sort of clothing manufacturing, and they called themselves Liquid Mesh, and they had like these shiny, shimmery shirts. So I tagged 3D on the end of the name because I was like, well, it's 3D. But I really wish it was just Liquid Mesh. So the name is because when you animate a mesh. So you can call the object, it's a mesh, right? Mesh of geo. So you animate the mesh of geo, and I keep blurring out. Come on, focus. So you animate the mesh of geo, and I wanted my animation to be nice and fluid like water, so liquid, liquid mesh. The mesh is flowing like liquid water. 3D. It would have been even better if I made it 3-D. like an old 1960s 3D. Had the red and the blue glasses. And they would point at the camera with things, and make people go, "Oh, it's coming at us." So move this up a little bit. Get out of the way. Just a little bit. Maybe over here. Oh, I got dogs that bark at shadows. What can I say? If you can see them. Maybe you can see her back there. Can you see her back there? Hey, Luna. Being a good girl? Yeah. So, anywho. I think I'm good with this portion of the skull for now. I wonder if I can get this in close enough to the camera. Slide over here. Focus. There we go. Ta-da. There we go. So, what I'm going to do is I don't want this thing to fall onto its side, which I've had happen, and smush. So I'm just going to stick it in a little piece of clay. I'm going to take that little piece of clay and stick it someplace else. So the clay kind of holds it up a little bit if I'm lucky. Yeah, I have to say, you know, I know I'm pre-recording this, and I'm going to post this up for people to watch and what have you, but I actually kind of miss having people chime in and talk. I really appreciated everybody who tuned in on my first live broadcast and talked to me. I really appreciate that. And I feel like it makes these little broadcasts a little more interactive, a little bit nicer. So I think I need to do hands. Hands are next. Hands hands. So I actually use my own mixture of clay. My mix, I call it my mix, because I wasn't really happy with the various versions of this Sculpey. So I made my own, very own mix of Sculpey. And I want to do a hand. So how do I do a hand? I've seen a lot of hands done. How do I do a hand? Let's see if I can get some more light over here, because it's a little bit dark, isn't it? It's really not that dark in this room with the camera and the lights. The lights trick these cameras to making it seem like it's darker. So how do I do these hands? Hands. So I've never done a skeleton hand before. I want to do these hands. Well, I'll tell you one of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to figure out how big that hand is here in my reference. I wish I had a hand down here that was a skeleton hand that I could look around. And it'd be cool if they had one that was all posed. They do have a hand pack with hands in different poses. It's great to kind of like look at and see, you know, for if you wanted to illustrate some cool dynamic. The Hogarth hand. That's what in animation we do that a lot. Did you give them the Hogarth hand? Make it feel dynamic. For those of you, Bernie Hogarth was a award-winning illustrator, and he's got lots of books, and I used to have a bunch of them. Probably still have a bunch of them. Used them a lot whenever I was illustrating for a living. So I think what I'm going to, I wonder, should I make an armature for the, it's kind of tough. I mean, I could do an armature for the hand and bend the wires up, but I did an armature for the fingers on the old man that I did a sculpture of, and it definitely helped, but this is a skeleton, and I don't know if that would, I'm gonna have to think about this. I've listened to some people and they're like, no, I don't use any armature in the fingers if they're small because I can't work with it. And other people use armature all the time, and I'm not quite sure. I'm gonna have to think about it. But yeah, so yeah. Hand. Well, I wonder if I should just, I don't think I'm gonna have a splayed hand. Not at this scale. I don't think I'm that skilled. I think maybe I'll go closed finger, thumb. I've got a bit of armature out here. I left some hanging down in case I needed some later. I think I made it too short one time and I kind of regretted that decision. You know what I need? I saw a guy just recently here on Twitch, and he had this camera mounted like right here around his neck, and it was just like the perfect angle for like looking at what you're doing in your hands. I should steal that technique and do it. Then I've seen some other people that just have a single camera like this. They seem to be doing pretty well. So, So my brain is telling me two things. No, it's telling me three things. No, yeah. It's saying it's late. It's 1:14 in the morning. Should have gone to bed 3 hours ago. You're going to regret this in the morning. That said, then my brain is also saying, make that armature tomorrow, or make that hand tomorrow, and do a proper stream live and see what happens. So I think I'm going to do that. I hope I entertained you a little bit. Got to see a little bit of this sculpting. I think I'm gonna work on my cameras. Maybe I wonder if I can rig a system with this camera to be right underneath my neck, so you can see what I'm doing. Head cam. Maybe. I don't know. Definitely going to get a tripod for this thing. That would definitely help. All right. Well, if you guys made it all the way through this very long video, thank you. Please support me by following so that I can unlock things like subscribe and a few other things. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I can tell some more interesting stories about the game industry. All right, catch y'all later.